Okay. It has absolutely been a moment, right? And this, I have just went through. Um, I don't even know what. I guess the last slaying of the dragons, right? Um, but what I want y'all to know is there comes a time in your life that you have to absolutely let everybody go. If people have repeatedly showed you exactly who they are, okay, like for the last 10 years, you better believe it. You best believe that these people are godless beings, and again, they're spiritually dead, so it ain't nothing that you can do about those people. You have to let those people go. I think the reason why I was so mad because these, I never set out to. Well, I said this. These relationships need a lot of work, right? So the relationships was kind of trying to be cordial for the love of the children, okay? But it turns out I cannot even return for the children, okay? What I seen was 4 generations of unclean nations in one person. I didn't even know that could exist. Now, and I was like, what? And before I knew it, that top had went pop, and oh my goodness, I just could not stop trolling, making posts, because I guess that's what people be wanting. They can't stand to see you happy. They can't see you moving forward without them. And, you know, I don't let a lot of people in. And the Morex Marathon is public knowledge, okay? People, the people in your hometown is going to be and your family is going to be your biggest haters and non-supporters, right? But in my event world, in the event world and the patent world and everywhere else, they know exactly who I am, right? So I have to speak about the Morex Marathon. It's public knowledge, right? And I love what I do, and I'm doing what I love, so I love sharing. And I don't share for haters. Yeah. I think about haters, we gonna have haters. You know, they gonna hate, but they can't stop hating, right? So I don't worry about that. I never did. You know, now I know why it didn't be against the whole town the whole entire time. You know, you know, and they, you know, I got police records to prove, right? But listen, you have to learn how to let folks go, because them people ain't changed. Them people ain't changed not one bit, okay? No matter how they come back and say they got it, ew, they made a mistake, they this, because you stopped talking to them, and, you know, listen, if it's over, if we too old, we fake it like, you know, and I won't even speak to you. I just won't. It's over for you and I, right? I ain't got no hard feelings, but I ain't got nothing to say either, right? Too grown. But the lesson that I got was just leave people where they had you, where they tried to destroy you, okay? They keep going and going and going, and you keep forgiving them, and but I think I was so angry because I've set these boundaries and these ground rules, and I said it's not about them, if it's about the kids. So of course, you know, you people get to speaking for other people, and I know they done sit around in groups and, you know, had their group discussions. I'm telling y'all. You know, right? You know what these people are capable of and what these people have done. And I've been speaking this truth for 10 years, okay? They 10 years is next year. But everybody else is basically cut out. You know, I'm not going to treat people bad, but certain people that I would never work again. And we know how to keep it when we see each other, right? Now, I was supposed to come on and I was going to talk about, you know, why you have to let family go Sunday, and Tupac Shakur gets shot tomorrow, right? And I care more about Tupac getting shot than old families that's permanently resting in my past as dark cloud on history, okay? But what you gotta learn is when you're called to do great things and you're doing great things and you mind your own business because nobody ever sees me. I don't care who they are, okay? Because of course I wear in the Morax Marathon. I got 2 labs, one over there and one up here, right? So, in the Morax labs. So nobody ever sees me, and people can't stand to see you minding your own business, do what you love what you're doing, and you just stay out the way, because that was necessary. But what I do regret is how I reacted, because that's the same thing that's been going on. But this person is equally yoked over there with the wicked attraction. This person has been getting pass after pass after pass after pass, but this person has been going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny as well. Okay? And I have had several opportunities to totally destroy this person. I mean, this person will come with all these lies in front of crowds of people like they are telling the truth. Okay? And one thing I realized is those unclean lying demons are always going to get activated when you're speaking the truth. And in their minds only, when you're speaking the truth about them, you're talking about them like dogs. So if me telling the truth about you and what you did from the time zones that God told me to go from, which is 2017 to 2023 when my mother's alive, the other stuff that is total unwanted history, and I don't even want to care to talk about that again either, because that's they 10 years is up, right? So they 10 years will be next year. So when you let these people go, you just have to let them go. I mean, I've been telling this same story for 10 years, and if me telling the truth about what you did is talking about you like a dog, then bring out every Rottweiler, every pit bull, every Chihuahua from my mother's bloodline, because I'm not going to stop speaking the truth. And it's not my fault that you played the dark cloud unwanted part that you played, the demonic part that you played, okay? And so it's just like, wow. And I kid you, I'm not. It was 4 different generations of unclean spirits that I see. I mean, this is an example that I'm going to use, okay? It was a grandmother entered into her as a child, and she went from a teenager, but she came out as the age she was, right? But in having this conversation, and I seen the shapeshift, right? Jake, kid you not. And I told this other girl, because I said, listen, I'm a seer, okay? So if I see, people transform, I'm not going to argue. Just going to be looking at you. And when she transformed, I didn't argue. I just kept telling the other person the story. I was like, So, of course, I was just like, wow. But it was 4 generations that I've seen in this one person of unclean spirits. And I was just like, but the lesson that I learned was to let them people go, because those people have not changed. Those people always doing stuff, okay? They always in garbage, right? And any time that you can go to bed, you can wake up in garbage, that's spiritual warfare in itself. And I don't care who it is, right? It's just like you have to let them go, because the stuff that was spewed out of this person, which it was 4 generations, and I was just looking at this person like, what? And then it just like, and it was shape-shifted, and it listen, y'all gotta know that we're not alone, and these things can jump from person to person, right? But I had never encountered 4 generations in one person, okay, until then. And so of course they want to go all the way back to my childhood, which I don't care. They've been doing that to whole 10 years, going all the way back to my childhood. And the stuff that they be coming with is so stupid and ridiculous. It has nothing to do with what they did. So I just be like, what? So when they take it back to all the way back there to stuff that I did before I had kids. When I was a kid, I mean, they took it back to probably grade school stuff I did. You know, when you take it back there for me, I'm gonna take it all the way back there for you, and then we're gonna come all the way, instead of going from the 2017 to the 2023. You gonna take it all the way back there, so then I gotta take it all the way back there. So I'm like, that's why it's important to cut those people out, because you dang near have to drop an obituary on these people for me to even go see what's going on about it, because I'm that done with them. You hear me? So it's like, ain't nobody, I don't love nobody that much to go have to be involved with that type of spiritual warfare. I don't think so. Listen, I stay in my own lane, I mind my own business. What I call myself doing is, this is supposed to be Morox versus Scooty Bike, and I was trying to be the best businesswoman as I continue to do, the best version of myself, and become the best version of me. That's the journey I've been on. And if I ain't mad at my scale, I ain't mad at my, listen, I ain't gonna talk about that because I know I ain't been doing right, but I have been doing a lot of right. But I ain't been doing 100% right. So I ain't mad about that either. But I said I was gonna come on Sunday because I started, of course, you know, I'm only human. That top one popped, and I started making posts because I started thinking, you know, well, wait a minute, why did you want to go way back there? So, well, let's tell this person, let's tell this. And they always run the social media, okay? Always. So this is a platform where they can openly lie, okay? And hide behind these masks because they got y'all thinking that there's something that they're not, okay? And at this age, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not. But I never judge people, right? I'm here to spread love, light, and truth. And I'm going to tell the truth. I don't care who it is and who it's about, okay? So if you don't want me to tell the truth on you, leave me alone and stop doing things, and I don't have to tell the truth about you, right? So anyway, yeah. So no, you gotta leave family right where they try to destroy you at, okay? Because at the beginning and end of every day, these people know exactly who they are. They know exactly what they did, and for them to say, well, for this person to spew out, this, listen, I got some bombs that I can drop. Trust me. They lie so much. That's why I drop so many receipts, okay? If I say something, I have to drop a receipt because people love lying. And I'm the receipt king, okay? I am. So, but it's just amazing that all the wins, all the stuff that I have accomplished on this journey, people are still committed to being the demonic beings that they are, okay? It's like you can't spend your life trying to prove something to people that already know the truth for number one, okay? But they are devoted and fully committed to misunderstanding you or pretending to misunderstand you, right? But what you got to realize is while the people may understand the fallen that's using them as their hosting vessels, innocent. So they come into agreement to be used by the fallen, the unclean spirits, right? These people do. They sure do. And listen, I am not the one, okay? For y'all to think that y'all can keep coming for, but y'all ain't gonna get no more reactions out of me. Those people just can't keep getting reactions because they see you happy, they see you doing stuff right, and they want to create chaos and confusion so you can come on your page and you can start making posts and they probably on their page talk they praying and going to church, you know, and the whole time they being the most diabolical, delusional, punk ass, Decepticon, demoness they are. Okay? They know who you are. They've been knowing who you are. Okay? I know who they are. They can't lie to me. I see, and I continue to see them. Okay? I continue to see them. And the best thing you can do is let go of people and let God have his way with them. Because it ain't nothing that you can do about people that's still wanting to lie, gossip, be in chaos, confusion, death, and destruction. Okay? It ain't nothing that you can do but let those people go. They are liabilities and they ain't worth it. Okay? And it's spiritual warfare, because when you tell them the truth, those demon and demonettes are going to get activated because you told the truth. And to the demons and demonettes, the truth is something that they don't want to tell, okay? Especially about themselves. So to unclean spirits, lies is like the truth, right? To godly people, okay? You gotta tell the truth, because God despises liars and God is pure truth. So to the Decepticons, let's call them Autobots and Decepticons just to be on the safe side, right? So to a Decepticon, the lies that they tell, which everybody can know that they're lying, but they will sit in front of a camera as long as they got an audience, and they will tell that lie just like they're going to do on December the 25th. So how many people is going to be supporting that Christmas lie? But it's a lie. Okay? So, that's the same thing. That's the same thing with, the people that you grew up with. And let me say this, and then I'm going to close, okay? Bloodlines is something that you are born into, right? This is the law of God, and this is how it's supposed to be done, right? Your parents are supposed to be married, right? This is the laws of God. Your parents are supposed to be married. They're supposed to have children. They're supposed to raise their children. If you have sons, that's kingdom. If you have daughters, that's nations, right? You're supposed to teach your daughters to seek out the right kingdom, okay? Because she is the nation, man is the kingdom. So the kingdom and the nation can come together, right? And they can raise the kingdom and the nations together, right? And they have children. And those are sacred kingdoms and sacred nations, right? If they do it right and they're God's children. So your family is your husband and your children. It's not the bloodline that you're born in, which that's your mother's bloodline and your father's bloodline. Those people are not your family, okay? So you don't have to keep holding on to those people because you grew up with them, okay? You don't. And when it comes to your children, once they turn of age, they're supposed to be married. And they cleave to their wife and their husband. So your family is supposed to be your husband. And if your husband, you ain't got them, then when your kids grow up and get out your house, then you got your life back. You see what I'm saying? That's how it goes. So you don't have to hold on to people that are godless people that are committed to being demonic beings, hosting vessels of the fall. Because at the beginning and the end of every day, it's a choice. It is a choice. If you're not born evil, it is a choice to be godless, okay? Because God will save anybody that he can be. Well, he ain't gonna save anybody, but most of these people, they make the choice to be godless people, okay? We're not serving the same God. We're not. So God would never tell them anything because we're not serving the same God. And God ain't telling them nothing about me. That's why they come and they want to know my business, because they don't know nothing until I post it on social media. I've been stopped telling my mother's bloodline things about me because all they do is sit around the round table and start talking and gossiping and don't know crap. And they are devoted. I have set the pieces to the puzzle out there. The truth is out there about everything when it comes to the More Ox Marathon. So anybody that's devoted to speaking death in that situation, and most family members are death speakers. Life and death is in the power of a tongue, right? Most family members are death speakers. They will never speak life into you or anything that you do. So cut those people off and permanently, okay? These people are devoted to misunderstanding you. They're sent on assignment to stop you from doing what you're called to do. If you go to scripture It's biblical. So you have to learn how to cut those people off. You just do. You just do. But the Morox Marathon continues. Okay. And I'm going to come on. I'm waiting on my merch to get in, and I'm going to speak about the Her Story movement. Okay. Because that was, I said, I was giving this dude to September, and I was going to kick his crack with the Morox versus Food Bike, right? So I was like, well, that's not fair, because Morox is 2004-24, right? So that's not fair, you know. So I had to find something else, create something else. So because I like a challenge, so I call myself creating the Her Story movement. That was my challenge, to kick his crack, and then this person that got involved. This is a whole nother. That's spiritual warfare. That's over. So I don't even know how this person really inserted themselves in it. You know, they watched everything you do. Okay, so it ain't nothing that I'm doing that they don't know. So, I don't even know how you got inserted in, because that battle is over. You know, I was waiting on my nephew to come home. I got a bonus. I got to see my little brother, and I got to see my other nephew. But other than that spiritual warfare from my mother's bloodline, I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with y'all. That is deceased. That's over. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I have cut them so too, but I, you know, tried to make it right, so I could be cordial. My nephew came home. He home. That's done. So I'm gonna put some distance between that. Now it's time for me to stand 10 years with that. Okay, it is. It's time, years in a row. I gotta put some years between not speaking to those people, because what transpired. I'm not trying to be. Who wants to be sitting up in chaos, confusion, arguing, and always having to check somebody, always having to, I'm done. Anything, I'm not deleting any videos, okay? So everything that I said, go back and watch an old video, okay? Because I refuse from this day forward to speak about my mother's bloodline, and I'm not going to have spiritual warfare with them no more. Because I bet you I don't go nowhere around them. Again, in no lifetimes. That is done. That was my lesson that I learned from the stuff that happened. Okay? I actually was going over there to see about the Don, because they said he was here, and I was going to see if he went over there to see this thing, and I ended up getting into some whole other spiritual warfare, but it was the lesson to finally seal that back there in that my dark cloud ongoing history from my mother's bloodline from 2017 2023. Just seal it back there and never look back. So again, and then it kind of reminded me of the Kenya Moore thing. So Kenya kind of went through it, and then, you know, when you're doing great things, you know, you got the devil gonna use anybody, and then I'm up here making posts. People don't know what's going on. People don't know me personally. You know, for the people that don't know me personally, and they watch me because of they like my work. You know, they like the Morox Marathon. They like the Her Story Marathon or whatever, Her Story movement. And I'm on here having personal problems, but this is where they start everything at. So it's important just to not deal with those people, because then the devil can't use them, and then you can't be up here trying to clap back at them, and your people that's like, what is this lady talking about? You see what I'm saying? So I had to come on, and I had to do this because I had to clear that, because that was straight up spiritual warfare, but that was the end of that. I would never go around those people again, because it's not worth the spiritual warfare. It's not worth anything, because, listen, those people don't even see me. I didn't know nothing that was currently going on with them. Nothing, okay? When I finally went over there, because I was working on the Her Story movement, okay? Sticker Mule / Catrice Moore 1976, okay? That's what I've been working on. Okay? I went over there, and they was like, they said, have you seen her? And I said, oh, she in the lab. When she come out the lab, we'll see her. So, you know, I'm in the lab. So all of that spiritual wickedness that was thrown at me this weekend, it was just like, that is jealous and envy and hate for what? Because I am who I say I am. So, no. anytime somebody is harboring that much jealous and envy and hate towards you, you better let that person go. You better let that, that's dangerous. And oh no, it's done. It is done. Okay? I call myself doing a wonderful thing with the Her Story movement. I'm not still holding and harboring all that old crap. I'm not. I don't understand how that happened. Well, I do understand. I'm not gonna say that. But the reason why I think that happened is because they were sent on assignment for the Morox marathon, right? So once that didn't work, they aggravated. So it's like, what? You know, so they see the Her Story movement. So I guess they wanted to try to throw a boomerang in there. Well, it won't work either. You know, it won't work either. So I'm just like, no, that's it for me. That is it for me. I'm not going to be, and I ain't nothing going wrong in my life. Everything is going right. Everything is going right. So I don't have time to be going through spiritual warfare with my mother's bloodline that I've been going through. They 10 years is next year. Okay? They 10 years is next year. I don't even talk to them. Right? So I'm not, So I'm cutting them off early. So next year, that's my last, and I was trolling too. A lot of that stuff was trolling too. And I got to come on, I got to tell y'all, and I ain't trolling in a minute, but I love trolling. And trolling is addictive, right? So, and then I was like, oh my gosh, then I got to rolling, because I was trolling. And then I was like, oh wow, well, what about, it's bigger than you. You can't just be on here trolling because it's not about you, right? But, that trolling is addictive, y'all. So I had to catch myself. And, no, I can't bring them up. I will not take up their names into my lips either. They will remain my mother's bloodline, and they will stay in the 2017 to 2023 time frame, which God told me to go from, as dark cloud unwanted history. Because it's like everybody knew who I was, right? Everybody knew about this dream. Nobody wants to help you build it, but they dang sure will help you destroy it. See what I'm saying? They don't want to help you build it. They want to sit back and hate and be talking and gossip. But nobody offered to help me do anything. So I had to learn how to do everything on my own. I'm only one person. Okay? I had to go to business school. I had to go to invent school. I joined all the accomplishments. I have to learn everything on my own. I don't have a team for that. A lot of stuff you have to learn on your own. Because people be knowing when you don't know. And if you don't know, you can get taken advantage of. People prepare for the lack of knowledge. It takes time. It takes time to go to school. It takes time to learn things, and I love learning. So, no, Psalms 1. Psalms 1 is the best thing to wrap this up with. Psalms 1 is so true. You just have to stay away from people, because if they ain't got God, they're not worth the spiritual warfare. They just not. I don't care who they are. If they my child, if it's my child or yours. If it's my family or if it's yours. No. Ain't nobody want to be in all that chaos and confusion 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that's all you in is chaos. And to make it so bad, I just sat up and thought about going over there in that little time. These people, now, I grew up, I'm telling you, I'm second to none. I grew up, but I was on a different assignment, and I was not out here just in mess like people. That's a hard track to get off of, but we grown, okay? We grown, so I'm going to tell the truth. I don't know about nobody else, people still lie. But listen, I don't care what I've done. I don't want my kids doing it, and I dang on sure don't want my grandchildren doing it. But if you look at these people, they always in something. They got their kids in something, and they will take their grandkids to get in something. It's not the same. Okay? Anybody that just want to be in that is crazy. Okay? Me and this girl was talking, and she was like, she was going out. And I said, honey, my days of going out is over. It's got to be a special occasion. I said, my cousin's birthday or something like that. And, because by now, shouldn't we all be doing something different? I absolutely know that we should. We shouldn't be doing the same thing in our 20s, 30s, 40s, in our 50s. Should. I mean, if you want to be doing that to each his own, that just obviously means that you ain't grown up. If you still want to be hanging out, partying with your kids, then and fighting with your kids too. What the heck? And your grandkids too. That ain't growth. You still stuck as far away from you as I can. Because you obviously, listen, I think this is what a lot of people don't grow, okay? They be stuck and they be stagnant. Because if you go to scripture, the children of Israel, they stayed in the wilderness forever, right? Some of them died in the wilderness, okay? So if you, whatever it is, if you still doing, but I was getting in the club before I was time to go to the club. And I said, I'm not going to be out party with my child. My baby is out party. I don't really think I should be out party. But listen, teach his own. Teach his own. I got a stereo in there, and I got a blender, and I can party at home if I want to party. Right? Kids is parties. No, I really don't think I'm gonna be out party with kids. It's time. At some point you gotta let the kids have something. No, but you don't want to be doing the same thing. I don't anyway, and I'm not doing the same thing as my kids. I'm not. We are all doing different things. I'm not doing the same thing as my grandchildren. I'm not just because I grew up having to put people on their backs, and people always doing something. But what I learned is you can't beat the demons and devils out of people. You can't. You either cast them out or you just move around, right? But you don't want to be doing the same thing, and I know I don't, and I'm not. Okay, so they stuck and they stagnant, and I'm just like, wow. And the situation that happened could have been avoided. They're not looking at the bigger picture. They're not. You had mother, daughter, down somewhere in a situation where that situation could have turned all the way, and it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided, and I'm just like, wow. Every time I turn around, it is something. Now, when I was younger, in all that crap, but I was a protector. So I like to protect. If you was my friend or whatever, I'm not a drama person. I didn't run around starting stuff. A lot of time I was lied to. And if you're my friend, I'm going to protect you. Or I feel like somebody did you wrong, like people doing people wrong. Right? So, but every time I turn around, it's something, and I'm no longer there. And I told them, I said, listen, I can't come over here. Y'all liabilities. I can't, I just can't do it. Because ain't nobody in that, I'm not in that same space. I'm not. Don't come over here. Don't come over here. Get on. Get away from me. See you later. It's time to go because you should come. But listen, you most certainly don't want to still be doing the same thing as your children and your grandchildren are doing, but some people absolutely want to because they have not grown. They're stuck and they're stagnant, okay? And there ain't nothing you can do about that, but let those people go. There ain't nothing you can do about it. And you ain't. And the more truth that you tell, the more those demons and demonettes are going to get activated. But I ain't going to stop telling the truth. So we ain't going to never get along, right? We're not going to never get along, but I'm not going through spiritual warfare with something that we already been going through. We done already went through that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not, and all you're doing is steady lying. If you still lie, well, you could die with those lies on your tongue. Okay? I don't care what they say about me from August 2025 on back to 2017, right? They could die with every lie on their tongue. They could say whatever, but I'll continue to do what I'm doing, keeping my Trinity first. I'm trying to stop saying cuss words, right? Spread love, light, and truth, doing what I love, and loving what I do, right? So I just wanted to address the reels that I was making and let everybody know that I'm not human. And yes, I get mad, but I'm slow to anger. And I did learn. I did learn from that situation. It's just time to just leave people where they try to destroy you. Okay? It makes no sense to keep going around people and all they're doing is constantly lying. They know they lie. Okay? They know they lie. So it ain't nothing that you can do about it. Because I'm not going to stop telling the truth. And obviously they're not going to stop lying. So you just have to let them go. And I promise, that's why I'm not none of their friends, because I cannot sit there and know that you lying and just let you lie. Okay, so I let them lie in peace, because if their lies is worth they soul, then that's a personal spiritual problem. That ain't got nothing to do with me, right? So now I won't go live anymore until my merch come in, because I have to promote, right? And shout out to Henry Gray, because he really hooked the sister up, right? And I don't know who braided my hair. I gotta find out. Then I'll tell you next time I come on. Okay, but shout out to her too, because she did her thing. But anyway, yeah, you have to let family go, because family will drag you down. Family gonna be your number one destiny stoppers and swappers. They're gonna try to, but again, if they can't curse what God has blessed, okay? But you have to let them go. You have to, with your mother's bloodline, you have to let people go, period. You know, you just do. If people are not helping you grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, psychologically, and financially, did I say financially already? Then the people ain't even worth it. If people ain't got God, you should want their godless beings, and they gonna commit every sin up under the sun. So you shouldn't want the people in your circle. You shouldn't. You should cut the people out your life immediately, because those are death speakers. They're never gonna speak life into you or anything that you do. Okay? They'll start telling your kids, speaking death to your kids. So cut them out your life, right? As I have, and listen, I'm human. I ain't never told nobody I was no Job, but from the time zones that I gave y'all, I am Job himself, because I be busy. Don't nobody, well, not busy. I've been loving what I do, and I'm doing what I love, so nobody ever sees me. And I be out the way. I be in my own lane, okay? I be in my own lane. So, no, I know that a lot of those unclean spirits from my past want to come back, and they want to try to throw bricks and hide their fingers so I can speak on them and give them life. That's why I don't mention them. That's why I start talking to them in transforming. Talk about them in transforming. No, because I don't think so. Y'all ain't got no power over here. I got all my power and all my energy back. And they can't get nothing but the truth from off and over here. So, they better go on back to permanent darkness which they came, because this is not that. Now, until next time, keep God in heaven first. If you fall down, get on back up and keep on going, because nobody is perfect. But if you keep walking with God, He will make your ways perfect and cut folks off. That's godless beings, because they're spiritually dead and they're not worth the spiritual warfare. Ever. So, until next time, leave those punk-ass Decepticons over there in their Decepticon world. Autobots, let's roll out. Keep God in heaven first. Be blessed and be a blessing to others. And I am out until my merch comes, and then I got to promote, right?